When a man crosses 60, the world often tells him he should slow down, sit back, and fade quietly into the background. Society whispers that he has lived his best years already. Commercials show younger men full of fire, while the older man is pictured sitting in a rocking chair watching time pass by. But here is the truth. Women can resist a man over 60 who still knows how to carry himself with strength, dignity, and presence. And most men waste it because they forget that confidence is not about age. It's about energy. Think about this. Confidence is not shouting, not arrogance, not trying to impress anyone. Confidence is the quiet calm of a man who has lived through storms, who has fought his battles, who has seen the rise and fall of dreams and still walks into the room with his head high. That kind of presence cannot be faked by a 20-year-old. It comes only with years. It comes only with life. And yet, so many men throw it away. They shrink instead of stand tall. They let the number on their birth certificate dictate the weight of their shoulders. But the man who remembers his worth, who remembers that time has given him power, not stolen it, that man becomes magnetic. Women are drawn to presence because presence says safety. Presence says leadership. Presence says, I know who I am and I don't need to prove it. When you're 60, 70, even 80, you carry the advantage of history. You've walked through fire that younger men have not. You have scars that tell stories. You have wisdom that others crave. But all of it is useless if you walk like you're apologizing for existing. Let me tell you something I've noticed. A man in his 60s can walk into a restaurant, not say a single word, and if his posture is straight, if his eyes are steady, if his energy calm and unshaken, people notice. They may not know why, but they feel it. Women especially feel it. It's not about whether your hair is gray, whether your body is the same as it once was. It's about whether you've surrendered to time or whether you're still standing in command of yourself. That quiet command is irresistible. But here's the trap most men fall into. They confuse aging with disappearing. They stop dressing well. They stop caring about their presence. They sit small in chairs. They avoid eye contact. They speak softer, not because they are wise, but because they don't want to bother anyone. That's not humility. That's self-erasure. And women see it. They don't see a kind old man. They see a man who has surrendered his life before death has even come. No woman can be inspired by that. No woman can feel drawn to that. But picture the opposite. Imagine a man of 65 who walks into a room with shoulders back, wearing clothes that fit him well, with a small smile that says, I am comfortable in my skin. He doesn't rush. He doesn't need attention, but attention finds him anyway. That man could be bald, could have wrinkles, could have a slower step than before. And still women feel something. They feel safe around him. They feel intrigued by him because his presence tells the truth. I am still alive and I am not done. Yet, confidence is contagious, and past 60, it is rare. That's why it is so powerful. Most men lose it. Most men look at the younger generation and think, I can't compete. But listen, you're not supposed to compete. You are supposed to lead. A man in his 60s doesn't win hearts by being younger. He wins them by being timeless. A 20-year-old may have energy, but you have weight. A 30-year-old may have ambition, but you have wisdom. A 40-year-old may have charm, but you have depth. And depth is what women crave, even if they don't always know how to put it into words. Let me give you an example. Think of the older men women around the world admire, actors, leaders, thinkers, even neighbors in their communities. It is not always because of money or fame. Often it's because these men carry themselves as though they own their space. Look at a man like Sean Connery in his later years, or Morgan Freeman, or Richard Gere. Wrinkles did not make them invisible. Age did not erase their magnetism. Why? Because their presence grew as their hair thinned. They stopped chasing approval and started radiating certainty. That is what women cannot resist. But you don't need to be a movie star to have this. Presence is free. Confidence is free. It starts with simple choices. How you stand, how you look at someone, how you shake a hand, how you speak your words. Do you speak like every sentence has a question mark? Or do you speak like you trust yourself? Do you walk into the room hoping nobody notices you? Or do you walk in knowing you belong there? These little things are what separate a man who fades from a man who glows. And I know what some of you might be thinking. You might say, but I don't feel that confident anymore. Life has beaten me down. My body is not what it used to be. My energy is lower. That's fair, but let me ask you, have you not survived heartbreak? Have you not survived disappointment? Have you not survived failure and still kept breathing? That survival alone is confidence. You are still here, and that makes you strong. The man who has lived through storms has more presence than the man who has only known sunshine. You just need to remember it. Presence is not about pretending you are 30 again. It's not about hiding your age. It's about embracing it so fully that nobody dares question your worth. A man who says, yes, I am 65 and I have never been more myself is unstoppable. Women don't resist that. They are drawn to it because it feels real, and real is rare. But let me be clear, confidence is not loud. Confidence is not showing off. Confidence is not chasing women, begging them to see you. Confidence is being so deeply at peace with yourself that women can't help but notice. It's the difference between saying, please love me, and saying, this is who I am, take it or leave it. Women respect the second man. They walk away from the first. And here is the tragedy. Most men waste this gift. They waste it because they believe the lie that aging is a curse. They believe the lie that their worth has expired. And so they shrink. They stop trying. They stop living. They give up the very power that women would still admire in them. But the truth is, if you carry yourself with presence, you will always be attractive. You will always be respected, and you will always be desired. I want every man listening to me right now to hear this. Your 60s, your 70s, even your 80s can be your most magnetic years. If you choose presence over invisibility, you are not done. Your story is not over. Every wrinkle on your face is proof that you have lived, that you have earned the right to stand tall. Do not waste that by hiding. Do not waste that by apologizing for being alive. A confident man at 60 is like a lighthouse. He doesn't move. He doesn't chase ships. He just stands tall, shining his light, and the world finds him. That's what presence is. That's what women cannot resist. And that is what most men are wasting, not because they lack it, but because they forget they have it. So I ask you, are you going to shrink or are you going to rise? Are you going to let society put you in the shadows, or are you going to step into your own light? Because the truth is simple. If you are alive, you are not finished. And if you are not finished, then it's time to walk with presence, passion, purpose. 2 words that can change everything about how a man lives and how the world sees him. And here's the truth. Women cannot resist a man over 60. Still has passion and purpose in his life. Most men waste it because somewhere along the way, they stop living for something bigger than themselves. They retire not just from work, but from life. They stop dreaming. They stop building. They stop moving forward. But a man with purpose, no matter his age, is unstoppable. Think about it. A man without purpose is a man drifting. He wakes up, he eats breakfast, he watches television, he complains about the world, he goes to sleep, days blur together. There is no fire in his eyes, there is no spark in his voice, and women sense it instantly. Not because they need him to have a job or a big mission for them, because passion is life. And when a man loses passion, he loses his energy, his attractiveness, his presence. Now contrast that with a man who still has a reason to get out of bed. He may be retired, yes, but he is not retired from life. He may no longer be chasing a career, but he is still chasing growth. He is still building something. It could be a garden. It could be a book. It could be mentoring younger men. It could be traveling the world. It could be volunteering, creating, teaching, leading, even simply setting goals for his health. Whatever it is, he is moving forward. His heart is alive. And women can feel that aliveness radiating from him. Let me tell you something powerful. Passion is more attractive than youth. A man of 20 with no passion is invisible. A man of 70 with passion is magnetic. Because passion is energy. And energy doesn't age. When you speak about something you love, your voice changes, your eyes light up, your hands move differently. People feel your enthusiasm, and enthusiasm is contagious. That is why women cannot resist it. It's not the wrinkles, not the number on the calendar. It's whether you're alive inside. Purpose gives direction. Passion gives fire. And when the two meet, you become unstoppable. You walk differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. Most men lose it because they believe purpose is only tied to work. They think, I'm retired, my job is over, my role is finished. But purpose is not a job. Purpose is the reason your heart still beats. It is the reason you were put here. If you're alive, then your purpose is not done. Let me ask you this. What excites you? What pulls you forward? What do you want to leave behind in this world? Because once you connect with that, you stop being just another older man. You become a force. Women don't resist that because women are not just attracted to men. They are attracted to energy, direction, passion. I've seen it countless times. A man in his 60s who has no passion looks old. A man in his 60s who still has purpose looks timeless. You can put them side by side, same wrinkles, same age, but one looks alive and the other looks finished. It has nothing to do with genetics, nothing to do with money, and everything to do with spirit. Take, for example, men like Nelson Mandela. He was well into his 70s when he became president of South Africa. Or Colonel Sanders, who was in his 60s when he founded KFC. Or writers, inventors, leaders who did their greatest work. Not in youth, but in later years. They had purpose, and purpose gave them life. Purpose gave them a second wind. Now let's bring it back to you. You may say, but I'm not Mandela. I'm not an inventor. I'm just an ordinary man. And I will tell you this, you are not ordinary when you have passion. You are not ordinary when you live with purpose. You don't have to change the world. You just have to live with fire. Women see it. They feel it. A man who is alive makes a woman feel alive. Here's the beautiful thing. Passion doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be grand. It could be that you love music and you pick up the guitar again. It could be that you write your memories so your grandchildren know who you were. It could be that you take long walks every morning and treat every sunrise as a gift. It could be that you mentor a younger man who is lost, giving him the wisdom you once wished you had. Purpose is not about fame. Purpose is about contribution, growth, direction. And here's why it matters. When you stop living for something, you start dying. That's not poetic. That's reality. The men who lose passion after 60 decline faster, physically, mentally, emotionally. The men who keep passion live longer, love deeper, and inspire everyone around them. Women are drawn to them not because of their bodies, but because of their energy. Let me give you a picture. Imagine two men, both 68 years old. One spends his days complaining about the world, scrolling through the news, talking about the past. He has no purpose but to survive. He looks tired. He feels tired. He makes others tired. The other man wakes up with a project. Maybe he's building a wooden table. Maybe he's training for a local marathon. Maybe he's learning a new language. He laughs often. He talks about ideas. He sees the future, not just the past. Same age, different energy. Which one do you think women feel drawn to? This is why so many men waste their later years. They retire from work, and they retire from passion too. They think life is over. But passion is what keeps you young. Passion is what keeps you magnetic. A man without passion dies long before his body does. A man with passion lives twice as long. Because every day is fuel. And here's the deeper truth. Passion is not just for women to see you. Passion is for you, because when you live with purpose, you respect yourself more. You stand taller. Smile more. You feel younger. You become the man you always wanted to be, not despite your age, but because of it. And that in turn makes women respect you, admire you, and sometimes even desire you. So ask yourself, what do you still want to do? What dreams did you put aside that you can pick up again? What new dreams can you create now that you finally have time? Don't say you're too old. Too old for what? To write a page, to plant a seed, to tell a story, to love. You are not too old until you stop breathing. And if you're still breathing, you are not finished. Women cannot resist a man with passion because passion means he has not given up. And women are not attracted to men who give up. They are attracted to fighters, to dreamers, to builders, to believers. And that does not expire with age. So my challenge to you is this. Find your fire again. Wake up tomorrow with a mission, even if it's small. Pick something to live for, something to work on, something to give. Stop wasting your years drifting and start using them building. Because the truth is, women don't care about the number of candles on your cake. They care about whether your soul is still burning. Most men waste this. Don't be most men. Be the man who even at 60, 70, 80 still says, I am not done. Because that man is unforgettable. That man is magnetic. That man is alive. When people talk about attraction, they often focus on looks, money, or status. But here's what most men forget. The most magnetic quality a man over 60 can carry is emotional depth and wisdom. Because while youth shines bright, wisdom shines steady. And women cannot resist a man who has the strength to go deep, who has lived long, enough to understand not just the world, but the heart. Let's be honest, most men waste this. They grow older, but not wiser. They have experiences, but they never reflect. They repeat the same mistakes in different ways. And they never learn the deeper lessons. Life is offering them. They grow older in age, but not in depth. And a man without depth feels hollow, no matter how much he owns or how many years he's lived. But the man who does grow in depth, he is rare, and rare is irresistible. Wisdom is not about knowing all the answers. Wisdom is about knowing yourself. It's about carrying perspective. It's about being able to say, I understand, because I walked through this before. When you are over 60, you've seen heartbreak, you've seen failure, you've seen loss, you've seen joy, you've seen dreams crumble and new ones rise. All of that gives you layers. And if you can share those layers, if you can connect with someone from that place of honesty and openness, women feel it immediately. What do women crave? Not a man who is perfect, not a man who has never fallen, but a man who has fallen and gotten back up, who can sit with their pain without running from it. A man who can hold space for their emotions because he has learned to hold space for his own. That is emotional depth. That is wisdom. And it is priceless. Let me paint a picture. A younger man might respond to a woman's pain with impatience. Why are you crying? Just get over it. He doesn't understand because he hasn't lived long enough to know how heavy grief can be or how healing a patient presence is. But a man over 60 who has buried loved ones, who has endured nights of loneliness, who has faced loss and survived. He doesn't rush her. He doesn't need to fix everything. He just listens. He just sits. He lets her be. And that calm, steady presence makes a woman feel safe in a way no young man ever could. This is why women cannot resist emotional depth. Because emotional depth feels like safety. It feels like home. It feels like strength, but not the kind of strength that flexes muscles, the kind that holds steady no matter the storm. And here is the tragedy. Most men waste this chance because they shut down instead of opening up. They think being a man means never showing emotion. They wall off their hearts, believing vulnerability is weakness. But the truth is, vulnerability is the highest form of strength. To share your feelings, to admit your mistakes, to express your love without fear, that takes more courage than hiding behind silence ever will. A man who can say, I was wrong, I am sorry, I miss you, or even just I care about you, becomes unforgettable. Because very few men ever dare to go that deep. But at 60, you have the chance to be that man. You've lived enough life to know that ego destroys more than it protects. You've lived enough life to realize that showing your heart doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you more. Wisdom also brings clarity. When you're younger, you chase things blindly. You think the next car, the next job, the next woman will make you whole. But with age, real wisdom shows you what truly matters. Peace, love, connection, legacy. And when you speak from that place, when you live from that place, people listen. Women especially listen because women are drawn to men who have grown past the noise and into the truth. And do not underestimate the power of storytelling. A man over 60 who has lived deeply has stories that younger men can't tell. Stories of survival, of failure, of redemption. When you share your lessons not to boast but to inspire, you give people a gift. You show them what life has taught you. And in that moment, you become more than just a man. You become a teacher, a guide, a source of light. Women admire that. They lean into it. They can't resist it because it feels rare. It feels timeless. Let me give you an example. Imagine sitting across from a woman and telling her, I remember when I thought money would solve everything. I worked myself to the bone, but when I lost someone I loved, I realized money could never buy a single moment of time back. That's when I started to live differently. That's not a line. That's truth. That's wisdom. And truth is magnetic because it shows her that you've lived, you've learned, and you're willing to share your heart. But wisdom is not just words. It's actions. Wisdom is patience. Wisdom is not rushing into arguments. Wisdom is choosing kindness when anger would be easier. Wisdom is walking away from foolishness instead of being dragged into it. Wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. And women feel that. They feel the calm, the steadiness, the maturity. It's like being near a tree that has stood for 100 years. Doesn't need to move to prove its strength. It just is. And here's the truth. When you are over 60, you already have the material for this depth. You've lived it, but most men never use it. They lock their stories away. They lock their emotions away. They act like they are only shells of who they once were. But the man who embraces his wisdom, who shares it, who allows himself to connect on a deep emotional level, that man becomes unforgettable. Women cannot resist wisdom because wisdom is stability. And in a world that feels uncertain, unstable, always changing, a man who brings calm is like water in the desert. So I ask you, are you living shallow or are you living deep? Are you wasting your years by keeping everything locked inside? Or are you using your scars as lessons, your experiences as light? Because every mistake you've made, every victory you've had, every loss you've endured, all of it was given to you for a reason. Not to keep it buried, but to use it, to live it, to share it. Most men waste this, and that is why they fade. But if you dare to be emotionally alive, if you dare to show your wisdom, you will never fade. You will only grow brighter. So here's the truth. Women may admire confidence. They may be drawn to passion. But what makes them stay, what makes them trust, respect, and cherish a man is emotional depth and wisdom. And you at 60 and beyond have more of that to give than ever before. Don't waste it. Energy, vitality, the spark of life that makes people stop and notice you. Many men believe that once they pass 60, that spark is gone. They believe energy belongs only to the young. But that is the lie that makes most men waste the most magnetic power they still have. Because women cannot resist a man over 60 who still radiates vitality, who still carries life in his step, in his laughter, in his presence. And here's the secret. Vitality is not about having the body of a 20-year-old. It is not about running marathons or bench pressing heavy weights. Vitality is about spirit. It's about showing the world that you are still alive, still engaged, still playful, still curious, still moving. A man who has this energy does not have to pretend he is younger. He makes aging look like an art. Think about it. You've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who still light up a room the moment they walk in. They crack a joke. They laugh fully. They engage with people like they matter. Their bodies may be slower, but their energy is bright. Then you've seen men the same age who look like ghosts. Their bodies are alive, but their spirit is gone. They shuffle. They sigh. They complain. Which man do you think women notice? Which man do you think they are drawn to? Vitality is life force. And life force has nothing to do with age. It has everything to do with choice. The choice to move, to eat well, to laugh often, to stay curious, to keep learning. The choice to not let life harden you, but to let it inspire you. Most men waste it because they surrender too early. They stop taking care of themselves. They stop walking. They stop trying new things. They stop laughing with the whole heart. They stop playing. They think vitality is lost with youth, when in truth, vitality is a mindset. Let me give you an image. Picture a 70-year-old man who still dances at a wedding. Not perfectly, not like he did when he was 20, but with joy. Picture a 65-year-old who still plays soccer with his grandson in the yard. Picture a man who tries painting for the first time at 72, who laughs at himself as he learns, who stays curious, who refuses to let the world grow dull. That man is alive. That man is magnetic. Women cannot resist energy because energy is contagious. Being around a man with vitality makes a woman feel more alive too. And that is the attraction. Not youth, but life. Now, let's talk about health. Because vitality does show in how you treat your body. No, you don't need to look like a cover model. But if you move your body daily, if you eat like you respect yourself, if you take care of your appearance, you radiate something different. You tell the world, I value this life I've been given. And that is magnetic. Women respect men who respect themselves. And one of the greatest ways you can show respect is by caring for your body, no matter your age. Vitality also shows in your curiosity. When you stop learning, you start dying. But when you stay curious about people, about ideas, about the world, your mind stays sharp. Your energy stays fresh. Talk to a man who has given up learning, and you feel his heaviness. Talk to a man of 70 who is excited about the book he's reading, the project he's working on, or the trip he's planning, and you feel his lightness. Curiosity keeps you young. Curiosity keeps you alive. And let's not forget playfulness. Women love men who still know how to laugh, who still know how to play, who don't take life so seriously that they forget joy. A man who can tease gently, who can laugh at himself, who can find humor even in aging, that man is magnetic because laughter is a sign of vitality. Laughter is proof that your spirit is not broken. Here's the truth. You can be 60, 70, 80 and still radiate energy that younger men envy. You just have to choose it. You just have to refuse to let the weight of life crush your spirit. Yes, you've had struggles. Yes, you've carried burdens. Yes, you've felt pain. But vitality means you choose not to let those things define you. Vitality means you choose to rise, to move, to live. Women don't resist vitality because vitality reminds them that life is beautiful, even in its later chapters. Being around a man with energy makes a woman feel safe, excited, and hopeful about her own life. And that is why women notice. That is why women remember. That is why women are drawn. But most men waste it. They surrender, they shrink, they stop trying, they become old long before they truly are. And I am here to tell you, don't waste it. Don't waste the years you have left by living like you're already gone. Don't waste the power of vitality because it is the one thing that makes you stand out more than anything else. So what does this mean for you? It means you start small, walk every day, eat with care, laugh with people, stay curious, try something new, keep moving, keep learning, keep loving. Let your spirit be bigger than your age because your age is just a number. Your vitality is a choice. And let me leave you with this. The man who is confident, the man who has passion, the man who has wisdom, and the man who radiates vitality, that man is unstoppable. That man is unforgettable. That man is ageless. So now we've come full circle. We've talked about confidence and presence, about passion and purpose, about emotional depth and wisdom, and about vitality and energy. These are the 4 pillars that make a man over 60 magnetic, irresistible, unforgettable. And here's the truth. Most men waste them. They let age steal what was never meant to be taken. But you don't have to. If you are listening to me right now, you have a choice. You can fade quietly into the background, surrendering to the lies that say your best years are behind you. Or you can rise. You can walk with presence. You can live with passion. You can connect with wisdom. You can radiate vitality. You can show the world and yourself that you are not done yet. Women cannot resist that. But more importantly, life cannot resist that. Because life itself leans toward those who stay alive inside. So, stand tall. Find your fire. Share your wisdom. Live with energy. Refuse to waste what you still have. Because the truth is simple. You are not finished. You are just beginning. Another powerful chapter. And the world needs men like you, alive, strong, deep, and full of life. Be that man. Live that way, and you will never fade.